I wasn't aware just how Machiavellian it was for Inside the Cabinet when Churchill first came into power.
Yeah.
Were you surprised by this story, and how did you come across it?
Yeah, well, my starting point was the realization that three of the greatest speeches of all time were written within a 4-week period by Winston Spencer Churchill. And I want to know why and how and what compelled them to do that. And then when I did a bit of research, I found this incredible boiler room of pressures compelling him to do a peace deal with Adolf Hitler. And I was going, what? Winston Churchill, peace deal with Adolf Hitler? How close did he get? Well, it turns out real close. And that's the kind of thriller aspect of this movie.
The story is told on a timeline, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is. It's a kind of ticking clock or a ticking calendar movie. And it really impresses you with the fact that in so few days the future of the world was decided. And
Yeah, I mean, and there are really tense moments, and you sit as an audience member on your seat thinking, actually, life could have been very, very different for all of us, couldn't it, really? Was that something that you always wanted to inject into the screenplay as you wrote it?
yeah, I wanted, and Winston truly was a kind of lone voice at that moment. And he wasn't sure he was right. And I wanted to dig into the idea of uncertainty being a kind of a valuable quality in a leader, someone who has the ability to doubt themselves.
That's interesting you should say that, because we've obviously seen so many adaptations of Winston Churchill, but Gary Oldman's brings so much humanity and there's a vulnerability, actually, isn't there? Was that something that you had written into the script, or was that something that Gary brought to it?
No, we writers write it all in. The actors just act it. Don't tell anyone, though. Don't tell anybody. No, it was very much a case of the more research I did, the more I started to question this image that we've been given of this man who apparently was a bulldog and brooked no doubt and only had one gear, and it was fast forward. Turns out that's not the case. Within days in May 1940, he changed his position all the time. He had to think of the impossible, the unthinkable, and balance it and live with it. And then, thank God, he came down on the right side of history.
Were you on set at all, by the way,
Every
when
day,
Gary?
yeah.
I mean, what was it like for you watching this just performance of a lifetime? Really?
I felt very lucky, to get an actor who's delivering one of the great performances, I think, on my script, and I had that same feeling when Eddie Redmayne did Stephen Hawking for me on the first day. I thought, this is like one of the greatest performances I've ever seen, and I had the same feeling with Gary.